Today we're diving into Iron Fist. He's a 4-star difficulty DPS hero in Marvel Rivals. I gotta say, Iron Fist can be a serious problem when played correctly, right? And playing him correctly isn't really, I don't think it's a skill issue. I think just about anyone can be good at Iron Fist, but being good with him is all about discipline more than anything else, and we'll get into that in this video. So don't be intimidated by the 4 stars. I think anyone can handle this guy, but as with all my guides, the goal here isn't just to read off his abilities, but rather to give you actual practical tips about how to put his full kit to work. So this video will be crammed full of helpful advice, but first, let me take a moment to thank the sponsor of this video. Their financial support makes it so that I can justify spending so much time on these guides to really get them right. So today it's Rocket Money. Yeah, being a gaming adult kind of sucks sometimes. Yeah, I just want to grind my games, get my loot, master my favorite heroes, but like adulting life keeps getting in the way. I have to manage my budget, my finances, keep track of monthly subscriptions, and ignoring it just ends up costing me hundreds of dollars every month in fees I forgot about. That's money I could be spending on these new summer skins and Rivals. But that's where today's sponsor Rocket Money comes into play. I remember a couple of months ago when I suddenly got a notification from my banking app that I had just renewed a service for 12 months for $350, and it was a service I had stopped using months prior. And if I had Rocket Money at the time, I would have seen that auto renewal coming a mile away, and I could have spent that cash elsewhere. You see, Rocket Money is an all-in-one personal finance app that fights for you on multiple fronts. It helps you cancel subscriptions without making a phone call. It helps you lower your bills, helps you manage your finances with digital tools. It helps you know exactly where your money is going every month, so you have the power of choice, the power to change your bottom line. They'll cancel subscriptions straight through the app, and they'll even look at things like your phone, internet, and more. With a few clicks, they'll negotiate a better rate for you and help you spend less on the things that you're still using. That means you can free up a ton of capital to spend on things you actually want, like those Marvel Rivals skins. The things that really matter. So if you want to see just how much money you can save, then use my link in the description. It's rocketmoney.com/truevanguard, and you can sign up for a free trial of Rocket Money. Join the now over 5 million people using Rocket Money every month. And if you like what they're doing, you can check out the premium package for even more features. Thanks again, Rocket Money, for sponsoring this video. Let's get back to Marvel Rivals. Alrighty, let's talk Iron Fist. I always like to start my videos with a quick summary of the hero's gameplay loop. With Iron Fist, the best way I can describe it to you is by using an acronym. If you watch my guides, you know I like to come up with mnemonic devices to help me remember important stuff because I'm naturally kind of a forgetful person. So the acronym that I use when playing Iron Fist is the word SAIL, okay? It's a 4-step loop. First, we stalk the enemy team from a good vantage point, usually using our wall running to get high above the fight, or by using our meditation ability called Harmony Recovery to sort of hold still in the air, gain some bonus HP, get a good vantage point, and then we identify the target that we want to pounce on. Now, usually it's an isolated enemy like a healer in the back line, or a poke DPS hero like maybe Moon Knight, Hela, and that's when we ambush the enemy by dropping out of the sky and getting some free primary punches in, and we gauge their reaction. Next, we lock into the fight. We fully commit to it. Iron Fist is one of the absolute best 1v1 duelers in the entire game. You're going to start by using primary attacks to soften up the enemy, and when you get around 40 HP, that's when you're going to want to pop your Dragon Defense ability to block incoming damage and gain a ton of extra HP for yourself, while also supercharging your next barrage of attacks. You finish off the target and then you extract. This is usually by using something like a Kunlun kick or a series of double jumps and wall runs. Then you reset and you're back to stalking again. So that's the acronym, SAIL. Now that isn't a vacuum. There's a ton of nuance to these scenarios, and we'll break those steps down in greater detail just as soon as we take a few quick minutes to talk about Iron Fist's abilities. So we'll talk about what they do in depth so you understand the nitty-gritty about how these work, so you know better about how to use them. First up, it's a primary fire. It's a combo of punches. The last one in the volley launches targets up into the air, disrupts movement. Every hit you land will shave a full second off of your Dragon Defense cooldown, which is huge. I mean, that's massive. It's a big part about using him well, and we'll cover that more later when we talk about Dragon Defense. But each punch you do with your primary attack deals 30 damage, except for the final knock-up hit, which deals 55. Now, what's cool about this punch is that it pulls you into the target from up to 6 meters away. That makes Iron Fist inescapable, more or less. Okay, there are almost no heroes that can get away from Iron Fist if he fully commits to the fight. Jeffs are usually pretty squirrely. Same with rockets. Jeffs are easy targets for Iron Fist. You just hold the trigger down, and you'll just keep rubber banding up to him as he's trying to swim away, swim up walls, etc. Now, some important notes about his primary attack. Focus up because this is important. First, it's important to note that the punches and the lock-on effect will go where your reticle is. Now, this is weird visually because it doesn't really make sense. The reticle is off-center from your body to the right, okay? So it'll feel like you're aiming in the wrong place, but you want to focus on keeping your actual reticle on the enemy regardless of the fact that it makes it look like your punches are going to the left of the enemy. Does that make sense? Second, because you have a 6 meter lunge to the target with every punch, you don't really want to just stand there and punch them, like stand right in their face and just keep punching, okay? What you actually want to do is be hyper-mobile during your duels. You want to jump backwards away from them. It almost looks like you're disengaging. And you want to double jump around them. You've got 3 double jump charges to use. And so what's going to happen is you're going to be moving so erratically, the hardest Iron Fists to kill are the ones who are bouncing all over your screen while punching. So every time you move away from them, your punch is going to pull you right back in. It creates this really weird rubber band effect for your enemy. It makes you hard to track. So you'll avoid a ton of damage this way, so please get used to doing it. If the enemy doesn't see you coming, they're not facing you, sure. Just stand there and punch them in the back or whatever. Make it easy on yourself. But if they're fighting back, you want to move like a man who has an angry bobcat in his underwear. Next up is the Kunlun Kick. This is your shift ability on PC. It has 3 applications. Application number 1 is to use it as a closing move to end a fight. So the kick does 35 damage, but it scales up as the enemy's health bar gets lower. As soon as their health bar hits 50%, the kick can do its maximum damage of 70, which is considerably more, obviously. Note that there are 2 impacts on the kick, okay? First, you dash forward and you hit them with your knee, and that will do 30 damage. Then you'll do your spin kick, right? And that's the one that will do 35 to 70 damage depending on how much health they have. So big damage potential here for finishing off targets to end a fight. Application number 2, you can use the kick to close the gap on an enemy that your teammate is dueling. And you'll see plenty of this in the background gameplay. Iron Fist is a great wingman, okay? You're in a fight, maybe your target goes down, you spin around and you see maybe a Black Panther is on one of your healers. So instead of taking the time to walk all the way over there, you can get there quickly. Use the kick, you'll get there fast, you'll take pressure off of your healer, and it's sort of like a tag team fight. You're tagging in and allowing your healer to get themselves to safety and get themselves topped off. Note that you can time this kick to be like really helpful by landing it when you think the enemy diver might be trying to escape. So I've actually killed a lot of Venoms and Spider-Mans by hitting them right as they try to web zip out of the fight. But the kick cancels it and sends it onto cooldown for Venom. Now Venom is a sitting duck and we can cook him. Application number 3. The kick is it's great at getting you out of a bad situation, okay? Now, here's what you need to know, so listen up. The kick only travels 12 meters, so it's not super far. But if you look up before hitting the input, now you're going to go like more than double that, close to 30 meters. Then if you toss in a double jump at the end of it, you can go even further. The double jump does kill your momentum, so don't use it too early. You could also do it's kind of like a pseudo bunny hop. You can bee hop a little bit the second you come back down and hit the ground to carry a little bit of momentum. But it's not really an easy thing to pull off, nor is it really that necessary if you're already flying 30 meters through the air. Now the kick is on a 10-second cooldown, not too bad, especially given your survivability in duels as Iron Fist. I just read the room. If I'm in an isolated fight, then I use the kick offensively just to finish the guy off. But if I'm in the fray with lots of targets, I'll save the kick for my extraction. Next up is Harmony Recovery. Okay, so for 3 seconds, you'll go into a meditative state. You'll hold your position. Even if you're 50 feet in the air, you'll just hover there. You recover 100 health per second. Once you're max health, you gain bonus health on top. up to a maximum of 100 extra bonus HP. Now, I use this in two ways. The first is to heal myself, right? After I've gotten to a safe location after a big fight, I heal myself, and then I get right back into the fight. The second way you can use this is to gain that extra 100 bonus HP just before a big fight. That way, you can go into your first duel with a lot of extra HP to spare before needing to pop your dragon's defense. But let me mention real quick that Iron Fist has a team up with Luna Snow. If you have a Luna on your team, then it changes your Harmony recovery so that it does all those things it does for you, all the things it normally does, but it has the added benefit of applying that same healing and bonus HP to any allies nearby. So actually, sometimes I'll do this in the middle of a big team brawl, where I'll just activate my Harmony recovery and provide a massive health swing for my entire team in the middle of that brawl. It's kind of awesome. Now, moving on to Dragon's Defense. This is one of the most important abilities that you have, if not the #1 most important. So hold the input, right-click on PC, you'll take a defensive posture and take considerably reduced damage for the duration of the block. You're not immune, that's important to know, so don't try to block like a Wanda ult. And you can hold that block for up to a full second maximum. So not a lot of time. Now, incoming damage during that time is converted to bonus HP for Iron Fist, potentially giving him 200 bonus health for a massive swing in the fight. Now, it's important to note that this block also makes you immune to all CC abilities. It's a big part of using this thing well. This makes him a great Jeff ult counter, as you can just stand in the swallow animation, you block it, and then you've got super punches. You pounce on the Jeff really easily as soon as he reappears, and you can save your whole team. It also makes Iron Fist a great Emma Frost counter, because as soon as you see her pop her diamond form and do that animation, then you immediately perform your block to absorb her grab, and you stop her from choke slamming you. And now you're just in a straight up brawl, and you punch way faster for way more damage. Or you can take the choke slam, and then you can block the kick that she does right after it, right? You can counter Black Widow's kick with this as well. You can counter Penny Nest by blocking the mine damage and then punching the nest. You can also use it just after you dive on a Luna Snow or a Mantis, since their reaction to your dive will be to try to freeze you or sleep you. So you drop on them, you throw a couple of quick punches, and then you stand right in front of them and you block. So they go ahead and waste their charge on their CC ability, and now it's just an easy win for you. Now, I mentioned at the beginning of the video that you want to wait to pop your Dragon's Defense until you get to a little bit lower health, usually something around like 40 HP. That's because there's this psychological side to it. Now, we want the enemy to feel like they're winning the fight, or like there's a chance for them to win the fight. It makes them overcommit. It makes them reckless. So it's okay to let your health start dipping a little bit. Then you pop that block once you get a little bit low, and you swing the fight in the other direction. Now, there's a second side to Dragon's Defense. So just after using this ability, you'll launch into a 5-second flurry of rapid punches. During those 5 seconds, you lock on and you leap to targets from farther away, so you have a greater range on your punches now. It's up to 11 meters. This makes it an insane ability for chasing down flying enemies like Iron Man, Ultron. Also makes you a wicked tank buster for several seconds too, so you go from low health to lots of health after your block, and you turn into a machine gun puncher. It's kind of nuts. It'll make you wish you could use the ability more often, and that's the good news. You can, because as soon as you exit that state and go back to normal punches, just remember, your normal punches shave time off of your cooldown. So you'll often see me stay committed after my machine gun punch is over, and I'm jumping around and punching just to get my Dragon's Defense block ability back lightning fast. It's great. Your machine gun punches can hit multiple enemies. It has sort of like this area of effect at the site of your punch. So you can hit multiple enemies if they're clustered up. So it actually works really well to use this alongside something like a Groot ultimate that pulls people together, and then you're wailing on them, and you're hitting everybody at once. It's kind of cool. And if you look up and mix in some double jumps while you're doing your machine gun punches, It used to be that you could just like fly through the air, and they kind of nerfed that. But you can still cover some serious distance despite that movement nerf if you're mixing in some double jumps while you're looking up and doing your machine gun punches. And that's going to bring us to the ultimate ability. There's a lot here that you need to know in order to maximize your output. When Iron Fist activates his ultimate, Living Chi, it sends him into his Fury Punch state, his machine gun punch state, but for 12 seconds instead of 5. Now, he also gets a 30% damage buff, he gets a 20% movement speed buff, and it doubles the range of the Kunlun kick as well. So you basically are a supercharged punching machine during that time. But very, very important here, during your ultimate, you have a 3-second cooldown on your dragon's defense, so much shorter than normal. So you can open with a block, gain a bunch of HP, then go on the offensive. You can block again after just a couple of seconds, gain even more health. So basically the block is always there when you need it during your ultimate. But also important, activating your ultimate will instantly cool down dragon defense. So you can like do your dragon's defense right before you pop your ult, then pop your ultimate, and you've got some bonus HP already. You start wailing on people, but you still have a dragon's defense ready to go since you instantly cooled it down once you popped your ultimate. So it's ready again whenever you need it. You can probably pop it 2 times. You could even pop it 3 times during your ultimate. You have enough time. But it's all like a give and take. Like you can't block and punch at the same time. So you have to decide what you need in the moment. But it also means that when you come out of your ultimate, you're going to have another charge ready to go. So you can like dragon defense, ult, during your ult, dragon defense, keep punching, come out of your ultimate, dragon's defense, and go right back into machine gun punch mode. So you can get a ton of mileage out of this ultimate if you know how to time your blocks well. You can be practically unkillable. And in your ult, you can win literally any 1v1 with any tank during this state, right? Take them off the board, free your team up to take some space. You could dive on the back line and shred their healers with your ultimate, taking pressure off of your front line. But I don't recommend using this in a 1v6 or a 1v5 scenario. It's not really what it's good at. What you really want to do is pinch the enemy between your ult and your team, okay? So your team is the anvil, and you are the hammer, and you push the enemy against your team with your ultimate and slam into them with your ult. That's the most effective way to use it. You can also use it to bait out a support ult off the point. So let's say you want a brawl, their supports are coming back, their team's coming back, and you think that their healer probably has a support ult like a Luna ult or an Invisible Woman ult, something like that ready to go. Well, what you can do is you can go into an ambush location, wait for the enemy tanks to run past you, and then you drop down and pop your ult on their back line. And you can force them to use a support ult before they ever get to the point, so their team doesn't really get the full benefit of that support ult. Does that make sense? Now, one final tip worth mentioning, if you hold the primary attack button during your ultimate, you'll just constantly throw punches, do big damage, right? That's your best DPS option. But if you tap the primary attack instead of holding it, you'll do a combo that ends in a knockback. So it's kind of situational. I don't use it often, but you could use it to toss someone out of a support ult or even off the map. Okay, let's move on from individual abilities. Hopefully you have a better understanding about how each of those works now. So let's get back to our acronym, SAIL. Okay, Iron Fist's gameplay loop, it's like waves on a beach. Okay, think of it like that. Okay, it's not constant. There are ebbs and flows to it. The wave comes, it crashes onto the shore with force, but then the water recedes back into the ocean. And for a few seconds, there's calm. And then another wave comes back, it comes crashing down on the shore again. Iron Fist is like that, okay? Crash, retreat, reset, crash, retreat, reset. That's Iron Fist's loop. So the temptation here can be to rush the reset part and just go right back into crashing, but with fewer resources at your disposal. So you need to be disciplined and patient as Iron Fist. Resetting is crucial to success. So again, let's start with stalking, okay? Use your wall running to get into an advantageous position with good clear sight lines. Identify your target. Preferably it's going to be someone a little separated from the pack, and now you drop on them. This is the ambush. When you ambush, you need to open up with some standard punches to soften up the enemy, and then you're going to lock into the fight. This is where you fully commit. That means making sure they can't get away. Now sometimes that means having the foresight, it means having the awareness to consider what your opponent can do, okay? If they're a Luna, or they're a Mantis, or they're a Squirrel Girl, they have an ability that can immobilize you, and they can make a quick getaway and regroup with their team. So you may need to pop that Dragon's defense a little bit early against those players. If it's a Moon Knight, you may have to bait out the Ankh and then pop Dragon's defense when he's shooting the Ankh on the floor, which gives you a ton of bonus HP, and it gives you time to reposition. Then you're going to line the Moon Knight and the Ankh up so you can damage both of them at once with your machine gun punches coming out of Dragon's defense. But while you're locked into the fight, be sure to mix in those jump backs, those double jumps, those lateral movements, and keep your opponent guessing. Be as erratic as possible with your movement, because your punches lock on. They pull you back in, and it creates this disorienting rubber banding effect for your enemy. Once they're low, you can finish them off with a Kunlun kick, or you can finish them with your machine gun punches and then use the Kunlun kick to get out of there before their teammates pounce on you. Once you're fully extracted and you're at a safe location, go ahead and pop your recovery and regenerate your health and gain some bonus HP. Check your cooldowns, make sure you're all set to go, and then go back in and start the process all over again. Now, a few side notes and tips before we start wrapping this video up. First, try to be as self-sufficient as possible. If an Iron Fist ever complains about not getting healed, they're probably not a very good Iron Fist. Between your damage mitigation and your self-healing abilities, you should be able to be your own medic out there, allowing your healers to be really focused on your front line instead of you. Also, Iron Fist is actually a really solid frontline brawler. Okay, so mixing in your erratic movement, you can do some serious work to enemy tanks, especially if the enemy healers are not present. So buddy up with your tanks and help them take down the enemy big guys. Tanks tend to have predictable attacks, so you can make good use of your Dragon defense in your duels with them as well. You then cook them quickly with your machine gun punches. And helping brawl on the front lines also helps cool down your Dragon defense lightning fast as well. So it's a bit of a mutually beneficial thing. And one high-risk maneuver that you can do sometimes that works out, it sometimes works out really well. You have to sort of weigh the risk and cost reward there. But you can fight on the front line against enemy tanks, and then pop your Dragon defense to absorb some damage from the enemy tank and give yourself a health boost. But then, instead of using your machine gun punches on that tank, what you can do is look over their shoulder, identify a pocket healer behind them, and then use your Kunlun kick past the enemy tanks and into the back line to nail an enemy healer who is pocketing that tank that you were just brawling. Usually the tank stays focused on that frontline brawl, while you have now fast punches to cook the healer that you just kicked in the face. Now, you didn't do as much damage with the Kunlun kick because you didn't wait until their health was low, but you did get some free, hopefully like 65 plus damage with that kick, and now you've got your machine gun punches to cook the rest of their health quickly. Now, it's a risky move because it leaves you in the back line with no kick and no block cooled down. But sometimes the gambit pays off, the healer goes down, and you can now brawl the enemy vanguards from behind them and cool down your Dragon defense with each punch that you land. Okay, so the last thing I want to cover super briefly is target priorities. Your priority should usually be to find an isolated enemy. Now, it could be a poke duelist on the fringes of the map. It could be a Spider-Man running a flanking route. It could be a healer alone in the back line. These are your primary targets. Find a straggler and cook them, okay? While resetting your cooldowns, you should be focusing on enemy vanguards, though. So after you've taken out that straggler, now you're looking at the front line, you're looking at the enemy vanguards, and asking the question if it would be advantageous for you to hop in there and do some brawling. That's your main approach right here, okay? Find the loners, cook them. Help brawl on the front line with your tanks in between dives. And there you have it, okay? That is the Iron Fist guide. Honestly, he's a lot of fun to play, and he has a tendency to send people on full tilt. You'll play the best on your team, have the most final hits, have a great game, and the enemy team will still single you out to talk crap about you in the game chat. And it's just the way things go, okay? You're going to be hated if you're playing him right because he is super obnoxious. Now, thanks so much for watching the video today and for supporting the channel. The Angela guide should be up soon. I'm making good progress on it. Quick note, she's genuinely so much better than people are saying. I do not understand the hate from good players saying she's trash. She's like the inverse Spider-Man, okay? Instead of being a DPS backline diver, she's a Vanguard frontline diver. She's the first frontline dive hero we've really had that fits that role entirely. She's nasty, I love it, so stay tuned for that. In the meantime, be warm and well fed, my friends, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.